Order. Sergeant Arms will please secure the doors. Members, please take your seats. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. President,
We are very, very pleased to have Rabbi Andrew Bush from the Baltimore Hebrew congregation, guest of the distinguished senator from District 11. Members, please rise for the invocation.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you all for inviting me here today to be present. O source of our hope and our redemption, we assemble in this house of the people to work for the betterment of our society towards finding a path to realize our highest goals and to protect our greatest needs as a state. We hold dear the value that such lofty and necessary goals will be best achieved through that very debate that happens here. Our hopes will be redeemed through speaking and listening, through compromise despite frustration. These past weeks, these past days leave us so deeply aware of the violent trampling of another nation's hopes, leaving them in need of redemption. As surely as we assemble to think of the citizens of Maryland and the United States, I trust that all of us here have in our hearts and our minds the citizens of Ukraine and their situation. We certainly know as a nation that hopes are not easily redeemed in any generation, in any place. Please forgive me for noting, and I can't stand here without noting, that I represent a group of Maryland citizens who were not able to fully participate in our state government until the passage of legislation by others, not ourselves, in 1826. In fact, I serve a congregation, Baltimore Hebrew congregation, the first in the state, founded in 1830. That was not possible until the passage of that legislation in the 1820s gave us Jews full rights. I note these things in prayer because my members have been thus ever grateful to fully participate in the life of Maryland. But further this month, I state these facts in recognition that free and full participation in the debate and self-determination of a land is never a given. In different ways across the globe and across these United States, ongoing work has been necessary. Landmark events have been celebrated, and deep and painful, and shall I say violent setbacks can be experienced. So we gather in this house of freedom. May we be blessed to find our hopes redeemed, as I said, through speaking and listening, through compromise, despite frustration. For it is through our humanity, intelligence, and compassion that we will find the map forward. Here and in any land, we surely lack divine footprints to follow. As the psalmist said, your way was through the sea, your path through the mighty waters, your tracks could not be seen. O source of our hope and our redemption, may those who lead us in all our states and nation value using the tools of peace and communication to achieve our necessary hopes and our required redemption. As surely as we see that not all are being given that opportunity across the globe, may we truly embrace our opportunities. May we be led wisely through such waters, leaving our own tracks of hope and redemption. Amen.
Chair recognizes the senator from District 11.
thank you very much, Mr. President. I'd like to thank Rabbi Bush for his wonderful remarks this morning. I learned something researching Baltimore Hebrew Congregation. I wasn't aware that it was the first Jewish organization to be chartered by the state of Maryland, and the first to build a synagogue here in Maryland. For the first 15 years of its life, the congregation that Rabbi Bush leads met in a room above a grocery store in Baltimore, and has since made its way through the city, different neighborhoods, and now is in the border, really. I think the property line goes through the congregation between Baltimore City and Baltimore County line, which happens to be also around the corner from my house. So I am thrilled to welcome Rabbi Bush here. I'll tell you a little bit about him. He's been the rabbi of Baltimore Hebrew since 2008. He served in New Orleans and Pittsburgh prior to that. He is the president of the Baltimore Jewish Council, and I know many of us meet with people regularly from the Baltimore Jewish Council in this body. He's also involved with the Baltimore Center for Jewish Education and serves in the Central Conference for American Rabbis. He's the proud dad of 3 children. He also happens to be married to a rabbi, Rabbi Debbie Pine, and who happens to also have married my son and daughter-in-law this past fall. Oh. So he has a special, he and his wife will both have a special place in our hearts forever. And I would ask if we can journalize his prayer this morning, Mr. President.
Without objection, Senator, we would love to journalize the rabbi's wonderful remarks, and pleased for his work in the community, but also clearly serving our own Senate members so well. Chair recognizes the Senator from Baltimore County.
Yes. Rabbi, before you were in your present role, I was buddies with Rabbi Maury Saltzman and Joel Zaman. There was a Black Jewish Forum of Baltimore that I was a member of, and I went to Israel. One of the 2 trips was one that they sponsored. We want to welcome you, and I hope that our communities can continue to work together, especially in these trying times.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you for that observation. Senators, we're going to take a 40-second pause. We have to do a quick reset of the stream. So we're going to take just a very, very, very brief pause. All right, we are good. We are good. Has everyone recorded their presence? If so, the clerk will take the call. With 44 members in the chamber and a quorum being present, the Senate of Maryland is now in session. Senators, we had a number of wonderful folks from Western Maryland here today at the PACE breakfast. As always, a senator from District 1 and 2 had a great showing, really amazing folks who came out to talk about the importance of Mount Maryland. It was an honor to be there today, and we were able to recognize our senator from District 1 for his 40 years of service. It was an honor to be able to do so. Other introductions? Yes, please. Chair recognizes the senator from Baltimore County.
Colleagues, our doctor of the day is Dr. Bernita Taylor, if she would stand. A specialty in family medicine, does great work in our community, and we'd like you to go visit her if you're feeling bad down in the health suite. Dr. Bernita Taylor.
Thank you, Dr. Taylor. Thank you for being here. We appreciate you. Other introductions? Other chair recognizes the co-chair of the Protocol Committee.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. It's Friday, and it's time to recognize and say goodbye to our pages who've been working with us out there diligently, virtually. So, Chloe Bird, thank you very much, from Frederick County, District 4, Ligonor High School. Raylan Del Campo, Prince George's County, District 22, Parkdale High School. Eliza Ferrer, Anne Arundel County, District 33, Broadneck High School. Aurora Mahoney, Allegheny County, District 1B, Bishop Walsh High School. Aid McPhillips, Calvert County, District 27C, Huntington High School. Ledette Mogis, Anne Arundel County, District 32, Meade Senior High School. Liliana Norkaitis from Harford County, District 7, Fallston High School. Lauren Raskin, Montgomery County, District 14, Poolsville High School. Christian Thomas, Baltimore County, District 6, Eastern Technical High School. And Cameron White, Anne Arundel County District 33, Archbishop Spalding High School. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being with us, and we wish you the very best on your future endeavors. Come back and either see us or take our seats. Thank you. Let's give them a round, warm applause.
Thank you so much, Madam Co-Chair. Our best and brightest continue to grace us virtually, but we're getting bits and pieces. Thank you. Chair recognizes Senator from Frederick City.
Thank you, Mr. President. I understand that Lauren Schildinger, who is the mother of Brenly for Brenly's Act, supporting safe schools for seizures, is here this morning. Thank you.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you. We welcome her. Thank you. Chair recognizes Senator from Baltimore City.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like the body to join me in welcoming my City Councilwoman, Odette Ramos, who's part of the. I share share with the 43rd District and also with Senator Hayes. So welcome here today. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Good to see Madam Councilwoman. Well, I can't see, but you all can see. All right. Any other introductions? If not. All right, so we consider the reading of the journal from the prior legislative day. Let's go ahead and start with introductions. We still have, we have a resolution. This is calendar 53. Clerk will read the bill.
Senate Joint Resolution 10, Senator Wallstreicher, United States Congress, support for the Francis G. Newlands Memorial Removal Act rules.
Bill will be referred to the Standing Committee on Rules. We have some bond initiatives. Clerk will read the bond initiatives.
Senator McCray, Dr. Bernard Harris, Sr. Cecil County Senators, VFW Post 8185, Capital Improvements.
All right, bond initiatives will be referred to the subcommittee on the capital budget. We have a message from the Attorney General. The clerk will read the message.
Reference to appointment of People's Insurance Council. Dear President Ferguson, pursuant to my authority under State Government Article 6-302A1N2, I am pleased to appoint Dorianne A. Malloy, Esquire, as People's Insurance Counsel. I request that the Senate grant its advice and consent to this employment. Very truly yours, Brian E. Frosch, Attorney General of Maryland.
All right, the appointment will be referred to the Committee on Executive Nominations. We have some bills from the House. Clerk will read the bills.
House Bill 48, Delegate Bill Castro, Public Health, Maryland Suicide Fatality Review Committee.
Majority Leader moves, so be considered the reading of the bills. They will be referred to their appropriate standing committees. We have unfinished business from yesterday. Let's go ahead and start there. We maybe need to hold this one. Let's start with number 29. Clerk will read the bill.
Senate Bill 279, Senator Heddleman, Access to Counsel and Eviction Special Fund, alteration. Bill is on third reading for final passage.
Chair recognizes the chair of the committee.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to special order this bill to the appropriate time next Wednesday.
Next Wednesday, in waiting for the B&T bill.
Correct.
All right. All right. Any objections to the senator's motion? Without objection, the bill will be special ordered to the appropriate time next Wednesday. All right. Special order number 30. Clerk will read the bill.
Senate Bill 419, Senator Feldman, Opioid Restitution Fund, appropriation of settlement funds. Question is on the adoption of the committee amendment and the favorable report.
All right, Senators, the question is on the one committee amendment. Are we ready on this one? Chair recognizes the floor leader.
Yeah, I think Senator from Frederick, I think got his issue resolved. The only thing is, I do have a sponsor amendment from Senator from District 9, and she's not here. She handed me yesterday a sponsor amendment, so I don't know, does she have to be here to offer it, or? Okay.
That's all right. Let's move forward. It's too important. We can't wait.
Okay, well, we're ready to roll.
Okay.
It's all good.
Thank you, Senator. All right, a question is on the one committee amendment, on the amendment. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The one committee amendment is adopted. Question now is on the amended report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report as amended is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 419 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. All right, we have Special Order Calendar 31. Clerk will read the bill.
Senate Bill 478, Senator Hester, Career and Technical Education Committee, alterations. Question is on the adoption of the favorable report.
Chair recognizes the senator from
21st.
21st.
Thank you very much. Mr. President, I'd like to special order this appropriate time on Tuesday. I've discussed it with the floor leader and with the sponsor and with the committee chair.
All right. Are there any objections to the senator's motion? Without objection. Chair recognizes the senator from Prince George's.
No, Mr. President.
Oh, no objection. All right. Without objections, the bill will be special ordered to the appropriate time on Tuesday. Okay. Senators, just very briefly, just in the gallery above you, my own guests are here. They are students, 8th grade students from Halliburton Academy. And in fact, their school is one of the state's first, or I think it is the first full net zero school, geothermal. It was with solar classroom. It's an incredible kind of spaceship-like school. And so the Education, Health, Environmental Affairs Committee toured the school this weekend, this interim, not this weekend, and was able to see this incredible facility. And these 8th graders have the pleasure of being able to learn in a really amazing space. And so just want to welcome them, and if we could give them a warm Senate welcome. All right. Let's go to Special Order Calendar number 32. Clerk will read the bill.
Senate Bill 77, Senator West, Health Occupation Boards, Investigations, Right to Counsel. Question is on the adoption of the amendment offered from the floor by Senator Eckert.
All right. Question before the body is on the amendment offered by the senator from the 37th District. On the amendment, Chair recognizes the maker of the amendment.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I want to thank the committee and the floor leader and the sponsor of the bill and others. We've had a lot of discussion about this. There is an issue. It's not clear, but I'm going to withdraw my amendment. We're going to try another route, and maybe we'll be back here next year. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Senator. The senator's moved to withdraw the amendment. The amendment is ordered withdrawn. This is the joys of ongoing conversation to make things work. All right, so now the question before do we have additional amendments? Yes, Chair recognizes the senator from the 41st District. Has an amendment?
Thank you, Mr. President. At long last, Mr. President,
we are ready for it.
I'd like to offer an amendment. It's Amendment 343-829/1. I had discussions with both the sponsor of the bill and the floor leader, and I believe they are postured to accept this as a friendly amendment. It simply clarifies.
Senators, give us just one moment to get it up on the board so that we have it in front of us. Just a moment. All right, Senator may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. So this bill simply clarifies that the board would be able to remove an attorney that substantially interferes with their investigation only if that attorney's interference violated the rules of professional conduct or acted in a manner that was prejudicial to the administration of justice, and I would move the amendment, Mr. President.
All right, Senator moves the amendment. Let's hear from the floor leader.
Yes, and thankfully, the third time's a charm. This is a friendly amendment.
All right, excellent. Are there any objections to adopting the senator's amendment? Without objection, the amendment is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 77 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. All right, let's do a quorum call before third reading calendar.
Mr. President.
Has everyone recorded their presence? If so, the clerk will take the call. With 44 members in the chamber and a quorum being present, the Senate of Maryland remains in session. We are going to start with third reading calendar number 21. The clerk will read the first bill.
Senate Bill 4, Senator Hester, Cybersecurity Scholarship Program, alterations.
Maybe we want to special order this one for a day.
Okay.
Yeah. Chair recognizes the majority leader on the motion, or the vice chair of the committee.
Thank you, Mr. President. Could we special order this bill until Monday? Thank you so much.
Are there any objections to the senator's motion? Without objection, the bill will be special ordered to the appropriate time on Monday. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 31, Senator Signor, Public Information Act, inspection of records from body-worn digital recording devices.
All right, Senate Bill 31 is on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 43 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 31, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 33, Senator Lee, Criminal Law, Sexual Crimes, Fourth-Degree Sexual Offense, and Spousal Defense.
Senate Bill 33 is on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 43 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 33, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 61, Senator Zucker, Maryland Transit Administration, Conversion to Zero-Emission Buses, Zero-Emission Bus Transition Act Revisions.
Senate Bill 61 is on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 44 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 61, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 83, Senator Kagan, Criminal Law, Public Safety, Interference with the Public Safety Answering Point Penalties.
Senate Bill 83 is on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 44 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 83, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 152, Senator Kramer, Public Institutions of Higher Education, Transcript Request by Students with Unpaid Student Account Balances.
Senate Bill 152 is on third reader for final passage. Chair recognizes the bill sponsor on the bill.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. I would ask if it's appropriate to please have this bill special order to the appropriate time next week.
All right, let's hear from the committee. The Senator has made a motion to special order this bill till Tuesday.
Yeah, I guess I don't get into a debate. Could I ask for what purpose? I mean, it's on third reader.
Well, let's,
I don't know if it's to...
I'm happy to have that conversation, Mr. President, but...
I don't want to have a long one. I'm just...
Sure, well, how about this? We'll recognize on the motion of special order, if the Senator could explain, from Montgomery County, could give the reason for special order.
A very general concern is that as amended by the committee, there may be some significant problems with the bill. So I would appreciate the opportunity to maybe to speak with the Attorney General's office about the work product that came from the committee over concerns I have.
Any objection from the committee?
Till when, Mr. President?
Tuesday was
fine.
All right. Any objections to the Senator's motion? Without objection, the bill will be special ordered to the appropriate time on Tuesday. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 158, Senator Kagan, Election Law, Uniform Statewide Voting Systems, Cost Sharing. This is an emergency bill.
All right, Senate Bill 158 is on third reader for final passage. Senators, this is an emergency bill. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 44 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 158, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 230, Senator Jackson, Health Occupations, Service Members, Veterans, and Military Spouses, Temporary Licensure, Certification, Registration, and Permitting.
Senate Bill 230 is on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 44 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 230, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 255, Senator Bidle, State Personnel Management System, Office of the Public Defender, Placement and Collective Bargaining.
Senate Bill 255 is on third reader for final passage. Chair recognizes the Senator from the 33rd District.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have a few more questions for the floor leader, if he would mind.
Would the floor leader yield? It appears so. Senator may proceed.
Good morning.
Good morning to you, sir.
Thank you. I did some research in the past couple days about our discussion the other day on the floor. Did Paul DeWolf come and testify to the committee? And could you share with the body who he is?
I'm pulling out the file so I can see exactly who came into the committee.
Virtual meeting, according to the chairman.
Paul DeWolf is the chief public defender, and my recollection is that, yes, so I believe he was there.
Yeah, Senator, the chairman said he was there virtually.
Okay.
Okay.
Then you got the answer to your question, Senator.
Now, my question is, who is he? Oh, you said.
Oh,
the
no,
chief-
my understanding, he was physically present.
Okay. And he's a chief public defender. He's in charge of the entire office.
Correct.
Can you share with the body his testimony, what his concerns were about this bill?
So, for the purposes here, Senator, does the senator have the testimony? Has not seen it. If the senator would like to make an argument on the basis of, I think it might be more appropriate than having another senator reiterate.
Okay. Senator, thank you for your time.
Certainly.
Thank you,
Mr.
Senator.
President,
On the bill.
on the bill, in talking to Paul DeWolf, the public defender who's in charge of the entire public defender system across the state of Maryland, indicated his testimony was that it will disrupt the ability to hire the best and the brightest, that this bill is a deterrent to the efficient operation of his office. The good senator the other day mentioned that there were several people who were discharged for cause, but we don't know, nor anyone else in the department, why that was. So, of course, I asked the public defender, how many people across the state of Maryland in the past 3 years have been released? 3. This is not an epidemic of people being released. And again, we will, Mr. President, we will never know the reason for it. It's privileged, it's confidential, it's personnel. That's standard procedure. But 3 people over 3 years is not much. And again, when you look at the total number of attorneys serving this office in the state of Maryland, according to the fiscal note, there's 558. 558 attorneys across the state, only 3 were released, and probably for very, very good cause. The head of the public defender's office said, this bill is problematic because it doesn't give them the flexibility that they need to attract the best and the brightest. He very much admitted that he would have no problem with allowing the 400 core staff members to take advantage of collective bargaining through a bill of that nature. But this focuses on the attorneys. The good senator said there were 18 states across the United States that have unionized their public defender office. According to Paul DeWolf, the public defender, 2 states, 16 municipalities. This is not a procedure or a process that is widely accepted through all the states in the United States. I just wanted to correct the office. Also on the fiscal note, and I'm speaking against the bill, the final paragraph goes back to my amendment. The only people who can be reclassified into the union are those who have gone through the merit-protected hiring system. And all these attorneys did not go through that process. So the fiscal note says those positions can only be reclassified when the attorney positions become vacant. Again, the bill's problematic. I'd ask the body to consider voting against the bill, to come back next year and talk about the core employees, investigators, stenographers, clerical, etc. and that if we start to unionize attorneys in this office, there are currently about 12 other offices in the state government which are not have attorneys unionized, including the Attorney General. Mr. President, the bill is problematic. It creates some real problems in the effective management of the office. I would recommend the body reject the bill.
Thank you, Senator. Chair recognizes the senator from the 32nd District on the bill.
Thank you, Mr. President. I was trying to find in the testimony where, in response to the good senator from District 33, where the Mr. Wolf talked about how absolutely committed and dedicated his 581 attorneys are, how hard they work. And you know what we've been dismissed in the state in recent years with positions being empty, with people not getting raises. We talked about the 3 over 3 years that were dismissed. How many that had to leave to make a real salary in law firms? These folks have worked really hard. They're very dedicated. This is a life's work for them to handle the Office of Public Defender, and I think we need to treat them well, and collective bargaining will be important to their quality of work. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Senator. Chair recognizes, we'll do senators who have not yet spoken. Chair recognizes the senator from the 34th District.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, I have not agreed with Mr. DeWolf many times over the last 8 years in this body. This is one where I absolutely do. I mean, as a litigator for many years now, I completely understand Mr. DeWolf's position. I can guarantee you, this will absolutely result in a lower quality of legal representation. What this bill says is that you can only discharge them for cause. Good litigation is an art. It's an art. And how can the head of the public defender's office go and say, your enthusiasm, that's not for cause. Your zealousness, that's not for cause. Your creativity, not for cause. Your compassion, that's not for cause. Your dedication, that's not for cause. It would be virtually impossible unless an attorney just forgets and doesn't show up in court. Totally forgets to read his client his rights. Stuff that's very difficult to come by. There's a reason, when you look at legal malpractice cases, criminal defense is one of the lowest legal malpractice venues. It's like less than 5% of criminal malpractice. Simply because it's pretty tough to say that you went below the standard. Well, the guy got 5 years. Well, if I didn't represent him, he would have gotten 15 years. How do you establish that? So it's up to that chief public defender to really look at these things and say, it's just not there. You know what? I can't say that you're incompetent, but you're not what I want in my office representing people. So this will absolutely not improve the quality of representation. I don't begrudge anybody a salary. The public defender's office frequents this body with lobbyists. We've had as many as 4 and 5 lobbyists sitting right up there when they cared about a bill. They've had as many as 4 and 5 lobbyists sitting in Judicial Proceedings Committee for most of a session. So they're perfectly capable of lobbying down here on our time for, while they're being paid. They're perfectly capable of doing that and representing their interests without the necessity of interveners. So I just rise because, make no mistake, this will not result in a better product. And the people who suffer are the poor, the indigent. That's who this is going to fall on. It's not going to be better. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator. Chair recognizes the senator from the 45th District.
Thank you, Mr. President. As a person that is a union member, I know that folks you typically go towards the union unless there are issues with their respective employer. Being the chairman of the Public Safety, Transportation, and Environment Subcommittee, I have the unique opportunity to be able to hear the Office of Public Defender's budget. And even Mr. DeWolf acknowledged the workloads, the wages, the challenges that was in the respective agency. So people organize or people look towards collective bargaining because their wages may be low, the working conditions may be challenging, the workload may be challenging, and that's why they collectively come together because they cannot do it individually from that standpoint. Colleagues, I just wanted to bring up some things that was in the analysis. Fiscal year 2021, we had to go outside of the traditional manner in which we handle cases with the Office of Public Defender and hire panel attorneys. $7.4 million was spent on panel attorneys. One of the questions that I asked Mr. DeWolf, while we know the strengths of the panel attorneys, the people that's hired as outside contractors, what's some of the challenges? And they talked about the level of commitment. They talked about the people that work for the agency have those cases and can spend time with those cases. But when we hire outside of the respective agency, and while we're paying them a fee for that respective case, that level of commitment is not the same, and they do sometimes present respective challenges from that piece of it. We also talked about the turnover. So turnover, we all know about the Great Resignation. But just last year, we had 9% turnover within the agency. But I question, why is there 15%? Double-digit turnover. Double-digit turnover happened when employees for a respective employer isn't happy, isn't content, and they have a number of issues not to be content with. The second thing that I think about is the vacancies. 25% more vacancies, 25% more vacancies. That's a quarter more vacancies this year than in the past year. When you have those vacancies, imagine the workload that's happening and imagine what's happening to that respective agency. And the people that probably need the service the most, which is the folks that's utilizing the customer of the Office of Public Defender, is not getting the satisfaction or the peace that they should because they're overworked, they're underpaid, they're handling unsustainable workloads for a long period of time. So colleagues, I would ask for a favorable report for Senate Bill 255 for the aforementioned reasons that we just discussed, but most importantly, this only gets them to if they want to have a union. This only allows them if they want to have a union, what is all we're doing is authorizing for them to have that ability for collective bargaining if they foresee this as the employees of that respective agency. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator. Chair recognizes the Minority Whip on the bill.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just very briefly, this was actually a very close vote in our committee. And I really enjoyed the opportunity to have a very vigorous, to actually listen to, may surprise some of you, I didn't say anything, I just listened, a vigorous debate about the merits of this bill. Make no mistake, we've had several people on our side of the aisle here get up about this bill today, but this is not really whether unions are good or bad or collective bargaining. This really isn't about that. We're taking at-will employees and we're giving them collective bargaining. The real concern here that's been brought up, I think very ably by some people that are not on our side of the aisle, has been, number one, is the performance of the office going to be improved by collective bargaining? There have been a lot of concerns over the years expressed very eloquently in this chamber about over-incarceration, about the ability of poor people, and particularly poor African-American males, to get a fair shake in the legal system, that they are over-incarcerated. Very often, they're being defended by a public defender. And if we think the performance of the public defender's office, it should be better. The job of a union is to protect its members. And that's their job, and it's what, and I don't begrudge them. Even if I come into opposition with unions from time to time on their policy objectives, I respect that their job is to protect their members and their members' interests. But when we're talking about people who are right now at-will employees, who very often have the lives of someone in their hands that doesn't have any other options, any other choice, I think putting them into collective bargaining is a very big step, and it's a step that we should take very seriously and perhaps take a little more time to think about, particularly as we've heard that most states in the country do not do this for their at-will OPD attorneys. Some of the other issues that have been brought up about overwork, underpaid, that sounds like an issue for the Budget Committee to address. And I'm not going to argue and say they're not overworked and underpaid, but that's ultimately their money comes from the state budget. So that's an area where, whether they're unionized or not, that's not really in, the union's going to be negotiating with the management about their salary, benefits, and package. It's up to us to fund them properly. And I think you can see with the vacancy rates and the issues that there are, that may be something we need to address in this year's budget moving forward. But this step is not going to fix that. And so I think what you're probably going to see as a result of this is making it harder to fill the position with competent people. And so I think you're going to end up with not as good of a product. And already I know there are concerns about the product. So with that said, Mr. President, this is not your typical don't unionize or do unionize. I think this is more about the performance of the office. And again, as I said, I thought our debate in our committee was very good, very instructive. Voting against this bill does not mean you're voting against the right of somebody to unionize or collectively bargain. I think the discussion about the rest of the office is maybe a more appropriate one. But when you're talking about at-will attorneys, this is a big step, and we're going to be out there mostly on our own relative to the rest of the country. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator. All right, Chair recognizes the senator from the floor leader on the bill.
Thank you, Mr. President. And I would like to just offer a couple of corrections to things that we've heard. With regard to this issue of where this has been done and legalized, there are 18 states across the country that have legalized the opportunity for the attorneys in their offices of public defender to collectively bargain if they choose. What was not properly represented is that in many states, the office is done at the local level. So you heard, well, in some states, it's only municipalities or counties. Well, that's because the state has authorized the ability to do it, but it's done at the local level. Maryland is one of those states where the office is a state-level agency. So I wanted to point out that correction, and there is nothing in this bill that would prohibit a bad employee from being discharged. Nothing. Folks, the morale in this agency is terrible. That's why they came to us to say, can we please be given the opportunity to at least consider collective bargaining, as my good friend from Baltimore City pointed out, on an individual basis, their voices are not being heard. That's why morale is so bad. That's why there are 97 vacant positions right now. That's why our Department of Legislative Services called out the fact that the attrition of senior attorneys in that department is at a record level. They are leaving because the working conditions are so problematic. This is not about keeping bad employees employed. This is about giving those hard-working individuals the opportunity to have their collective voices heard, so that maybe we can turn this agency around and, in fact, hire and keep the most talented of those individuals who every day go in to defend the indigent members of our communities and our states who otherwise would be lacking representation in our courts. Colleagues, we should put a green vote up in support of those hardworking women and men and give them the opportunity to decide how best they go forward. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator. Chair recognizes the senator from District 4 on the bill.
Yeah, just a question for the floor leader.
Will the floor leader yield for a question? Senator may proceed.
Sir.
It's a question on the funding side, because obviously if you go to collective bargaining, there's a fiscal note on the bill. Where are we at? If we go to collective bargaining, there's going to be an increase in the cost. The fiscal note reflects, I think, some of that. Do we know, is the Office of Public Defender going to get more funding as a result of this bill passing? Are we doing something corresponding with that?
We don't know what the outcome would be, and certainly collective bargaining goes well well beyond issues of just pay. But the fact of the matter is, our governor has underfunded this office and shortchanged the hardworking women and men in that office. And perhaps if they were given the opportunity and they chose to adopt collective bargaining, then perhaps along with their working conditions improving, their pay may as well.
All right. Well, thank you for the answering the question.
Yes.
Just to speak on that real briefly, Mr. President. It was brought up the issue of panel attorneys. We've been using panel attorneys since we've had really a lot of changes in the bail rules and the ability to get a public defender in front of a commissioner. Basically, you had these dramatic changes in the system. We've never been able to keep up with it. That's why for 6, 7, 8 years, I don't know how long, since I've been in the Senate and we had a real crisis with some of the court rulings and other things, we had to go and pay for a lot of panel attorneys. So we have never caught up with the Office of Public Defender from where we should have been because of a number of changes we made in the system. I think changes that probably the majority of the body here would say was good. And whether we do collective bargaining or not, my concern is that this is going to be an added cost. And if you look at the Office of Public Defender, their testimony, they go through it. They say, second under this bill, we'll no longer be able to hire best law students. We'll, like some of my amazing colleagues in Southern Maryland to whom we've extended job offers while they're still in law school, putting public defenders under the state personnel system will prevent us from hiring job offers to third-year law students before they pass the bar. Third, the bill will remove our current flexibility to promote the best and the brightest. Fourth, as detailed in the testimony provided by OPD, we rarely terminate. And the biggest concern is that whenever you make a change like this, and we're trying to do a lot of criminal justice stuff going on, I hope we're trying to do a lot of positives to deal with the crime rate. We just had a hearing in judicial proceedings dealing with some data requirements put on the state's attorneys, and it was like, hey, if we put these things on the state's attorneys, we got to give them money, because you don't want to take state's attorneys out from investigating or prosecuting. Well, in the same case here, if you put more costs on the Office of Public Defender and we don't give them more money, if you put more requirements on them, you're going to have less public defenders, less people there. It's just simple math. The same amount of money, higher cost for people, that's less people there. And if you have less people there, you have less public defenders. So I just think that's a problem. I'm surprised the majority of this body would be okay with having less public defenders to defend people who are indigent and in need of defense in our system.
Thank you, Senator. Chair recognizes Senator from the 41st District.
Thank you, Mr. President. I may be the only person in this body that was once an assistant public defender early in my career. And so I can personally attest to the extreme passion and commitment that public defenders have to protecting the constitutional rights of their clients and ensuring that where nobody else will, where no other lawyers will, ensuring that they are guaranteed their constitutional right to an attorney under the Constitution. They represent our indigent constituency across the state. Public defenders, many of the lawyers have asked for better conditions and the opportunity to participate collectively in improving their working conditions. I believe we owe that to them. But more than that, as we talk about and continue to pass legislation toward a better criminal justice system and criminal justice reform, in the areas where public defenders have been allowed to collectively bargain, they've not only improved the internal processes in their offices, they've also been a stronger collective voice for justice and improvements in the criminal justice systems in their locations. And so I don't believe this is a matter of what my colleague spoke about, of just dollars and cents, and that this is in any way, one, going to be a greater burden on the state financially, but I also really believe that this will allow the office to not only attract, but retain lawyers for a longer period of time and better lawyers. You know, I worked there earlier in my career. I often say I left too soon. But the truth is, back when I was hired, I couldn't even get to be a full-time employee. They hired everybody on a contractual basis, and after 2 years, you were only then allowed to be able to receive any benefits, and that was something that wasn't really sustainable for me early in my career. And so I think that it's important, and I do, I believe that it's our responsibility to these lawyers to do this for them because this is what they've asked for. It'll make them better lawyers, it'll make the office better, but it will also make them be a stronger voice in this state for criminal justice reform. So for those reasons, I'd urge a favorable vote on the bill. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Chair recognizes Senator from District 6.
Thank you, Mr. President. Now, I can speak also the times that I was in the union for 31 years. And it was important to me how I was being represented. And the union, to me, every time I had an issue, they did a good job. They represented me well. Because at any given time, and anybody else had issues, that we were represented well. I think at the same time, there were a lot of issues in general industry and other areas where they had very serious problems. So they had to get other people in safety matters to help them out, and that was OSHA. So they did that for a very good reason, to protect the worker. But at the same time, other groups, businesses, and a lot of industries have come to a place now where they need to be represented because they haven't been well represented. So a lot of them, what they go to, they went to unions. And being a representative in the union in grievances and in safety, I had opportunity to represent the people. I had opportunity to speak up for the people. I had opportunity to meet with management and to make a difference, because working together does make a difference. And more than anything, how you are represented, you need somebody that knows the system. And just because you have a degree, okay, which is a good thing, sometimes on-the-job training says a lot too. And there's a lot of people that have worked hard in the systems and have represented well. So me being here, okay, and in the union, I support this because I believe it's the right thing to do to help this. And it's a good thing. Now, other people say, why do you think that? Because I was in the middle of it, and I understand it very well. And I want to continue to fight for workers, period. Whether they're in the union or not, I want to fight for them. And I understand this very well. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator. Chair recognizes Senator from the 27th District.
Thank you, Mr. President. I support Senate Bill 255 wholeheartedly as a member of this body who actually certainly was represented more than I cared to be by a union, but also happened to have been honored to serve as a president of a union, and then was truly honored to be elected to sheriff of my county, where I had to deal with the union on a daily basis, understanding that a voice, a collective voice within an agency or an organization makes for a better organization all day long, ladies and gentlemen. So let's just do the right thing, take care of our employees, make sure that they are felt and appreciated. And also, you know, there's also an accountability component to this as well. So let's do the right thing for the citizens of the state of Maryland and those who protect those who are most in need. So thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator. All right, any further discussion on the bill? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 30 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 255, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. We've got another calendar, number 22. Yes, Chair recognizes Senator from Prince George's.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to be recorded in the green on Senate Bill 31, please.
On 31, any objections? Without objections, Senator will be recorded in the green. Chair recognizes Senator from District 6.
Yes, Mr. President. Could I be also in the green in Senate Bill 33?
33, Senator, any objections? Without objection, so ordered. All right, let's go to calendar 22. Clerk will read the first bill.
Senate Bill 269, Senator Kagan, Open Meetings Act, Application and Enhanced Requirements, Maryland State Agency Transparency Act of 2022.
Senate Bill 269 is on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 44 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 269, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 288, Senator Eckert, Talbot County Board of Education, election of officers.
Senate Bill 288 is on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Change their vote, explain their vote. If not, the clerk will take the call. With 44 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 288, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 299, Senator Young, Education, Public and Non-Public Schools, Seizure Action Plans, Brinley's Act.
Senate Bill 299 is on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will take the call, or call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? And we should change their vote, explain their vote. If not, the clerk will take the call. With 43 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 299, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 357, Senator Benson, Adult Protective Services Work Group to study best practices for a vulnerable adult registry in Maryland.
Good bill. Senate Bill 357 is on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 44 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 357, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 377, Senator Lee, Marriage Records Name Change.
Senate Bill 377 is on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 44 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 377, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 379, Senator Patterson, Caroline County, Charles County, and Prince George's County Boards of Education, removal of member.
Senate Bill 379 is on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 44 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 379, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 381, Senator Smith, Natural Resources, Wildlife Trafficking Prevention.
Senate Bill 381 is on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll. One moment. Nope, okay. Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 44 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 381, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Chair recognizes the senator from the 29th District.
I was just going to try to explain my vote for a minute.
Oh, on this one. Apologies, Senator. Senator has 2 minutes to explain his vote. Apologies about that.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Colleagues, often in this world, we really don't know what we don't know. And I just wanted to explain to you that 10 years ago, I worked in this realm of wildlife trafficking and worked with a bunch of special agents with the Fish and Wildlife Service, and we did an operation called Operation Crash. And it dealt with rhinos, and it dealt with elephants, and it tracked illegal ivory coming into the United States. And as a result of that case, what it brought to life was about 10 years ago, over a 2-year period, there was over 100,000 elephants on the continent of Africa that were killed in 2 years. That was about 96 elephants a day, one every 15 minutes. The fact was the market for that was there was quite a bit of a market for the ivory and the rhino horn in Asia, but there was a considerable amount of it right here in the United States. And that's what that case brought to life. In 2016, we did a total ban in the United States of ivory being imported. In 2018, we realized that there was only about 10% of the ivory that was coming into the United States was being able to be stopped at our borders. But it was openly traded, as it is today, in this state. And there's nothing that anyone can do about it. This is a step in the right direction to move forward with that. I appreciate all the work that was done on this bill. Look forward to its passage.
Thank you so much, Senator. All right. Appreciate that. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 435, Senator Huff, Family Law, Preventing or Interfering with the Report of Suspected Sexual Abuse of a Child, Statute of Limitations.
Senate Bill 435 is on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 44 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 435, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 436, Carroll County Senators, Carroll County Board of Education, Member Compensation and Student Representative.
Senate Bill 436 is on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 44 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 436, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 439, Senator Carrozza, and Somerset County local officials, salaries and daily allowance for traveling expenses.
Senate Bill 439 is on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 44 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 439, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. We've got another third reading calendar. Chair recognizes the senator from District 11.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to be recorded in the green for Senate Bill 299, please.
299, senator in the green. Any objections? Without objection, so ordered. All right, let's go to calendar 23. Clerk will read the first bill.
Senate Bill 446, Senator Wallstreicher, Public Safety, Fire, Rescue, or Emergency Medical Services Entities Peer Support Programs.
Senate Bill 446 is on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? Chair recognizes the senator from the Lower Eastern Shore. Has 2 minutes to explain her vote.
Thank you, Mr. President. To explain my vote, I want to thank the sponsor for this bill. I read the testimony from this important bill for peer support counseling programs for our fire and EMS personnel. And I can tell you in my district, there have been some suicides in the past couple years where these programs will make a difference. I understand that the Maryland Institute for Emergency Medical Services supported the bill, and I'm looking forward to working with MIMS on another important priority for our first responders, and that includes our law enforcement canines injured in the line of duty. So I appreciate the fact that MIMS supported what you were doing with your peer support. That's so important for our fire EMS. Look forward to working with them on another important priority for our first responders. And I thank the bill sponsor again.
Thank you, Senator, for that observation. Chair, in explaining his vote, Senators, we talked about yesterday the apartment fire that we were trying to get information from. You know, it is a pretty horrific incident, and the Vice Chair of Judicial Proceedings has been on top of getting information, seeing whatever resources are needed. You know, this is one of those, hopefully, rescue operations and not recovery operations. But you just have to think about the first responders who are out there working as fast as they possibly can, trying to save lives. You know, the emotional toll that takes is enormous, and it's these types of peer support programs where it's comfortable and available to be able to talk to somebody makes such a big difference. So appreciate the bill, and I'm glad to support it. The clerk will take the call. With 44 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 446, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 447, Senator Wallstreicher, Corporations and Associations, Use or Maintenance of Improper or Outdated Addresses and Documents.
Senate Bill 447 is on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 44 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 447, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 449, Senator Smith, Unlawful Employment Practices Remedies.
Senate Bill 449 is on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? Chair recognizes the senator from the 34th District. Has 2 minutes to explain his vote.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, when we look at employment matters, we try to strike that balance between protecting our employees and also we don't want to establish a labor market that Maryland's considered unfavorable to employers. And so it's a careful balance we have to try to reach. We've had the balance, and I think disturbing that balance ought to be done based upon evidence and not just somebody bringing a bill. I've seen no evidence to indicate that the current balance is not an appropriate balance between the interests of the workers and the employers. So for that reason, I'm voting no. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Any further senators wish to explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 40 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 449, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 451, Senator Smith, unlawful employment practice, statute of limitations, tolling.
Senate Bill 451 is on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 44 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 451, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 494, Senator Penske, Maryland Energy Administration, Energy and Water Efficiency Standards alterations.
Senate Bill 494 is on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 44 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 494, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 510, Senator Bidle, Anne Arundel County Board of Education, member compensation.
Senate Bill 510 is on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 44 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 510, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 559, Senator Wallstreicher, Estates and Trusts Supported Decision-Making.
Senate Bill 559 is on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 44 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 559, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 611, Senator Bidle, State Board of Dental Examiners, Training and Disciplinary Processes, Revisions.
Senate Bill 611 is on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 44 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 611, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 617, Senator Zucker, Local School Systems Equivalent Access Standards, Digital Tools Equivalent, and Non-Visual Access Accountability Act for K through 12 education.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Senate Bill 617 is on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 44 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 617, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 626, Senator Griffith, Maryland Loan Assistance Program for Physicians and Physician Assistants, alterations.
Senate Bill 626 is on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 44 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 626, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. All right, we've got a second reader calendar out of judicial proceedings. This is number 11. Clerk will read the first bill.
Senate Bill 44, Senator West, Crimes, Unattended Dogs, Extreme Weather Conditions and Heat, favorable.
Chair recognizes the bill sponsor as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. This bill prohibits a person from leaving a dog outside and unattended for longer than 30 minutes without access to specified shelter or shade during extreme weather conditions. So on very hot days in the summer when the temperature is over 90 degrees, the dog has to have suitable shade. In the wintertime, when the temperature is below freezing, below 32 degrees, the dog has to have suitable shelter, which means insulation to allow a dog to maintain its normal body temperature, and which is suitable for the species, age, condition, size, and type of dog. The prohibition does not apply if the dog is lawfully and actively engaged in hunting, livestock herding or guarding, sledding, sporting, or training. And the violators are guilty of a civil offense if they violate this bill. It's punishable by merely a warning for a first violation and civil monetary penalties after that. The vote was 9 to 1 to 1. There are no committee amendments. I move the adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? Chair recognizes the senator from the 34th District on the report.
Yeah, I just want to correct one thing that was said to the body, and that's that it's not, the doghouse is not just required for cold weather. It's also required on all those days in June, July, and August when we have a heat advisory. So if you currently put your dog outside in the shade of the big oak tree or under the back porch or under the awning on the patio, that's not going to be good enough. On every day there's a heat advisory, you're going to have to go have a doghouse. It's got to be a regular doghouse, insulated and all that. That's required under the bill. So it's not just, it's extreme weather, which is all weather extremes, which would be a freezing weather extreme or hot weather extreme. So this is the Walmart bill. We all go by doghouses. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Senator. Chair recognizes the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. President, the section of the bill that's relevant there provides that suitable shelter or suitable shade is required when temperatures are above 90 degrees Fahrenheit, but below what's required for a heat advisory.
All right, on the report, Chair recognizes the senator from 7th District.
Thank you. Will the floor leader yield for a question?
Will the floor leader yield? Pearso, senator may proceed.
Sorry, thank you.
Is suitable defined?
Suitable shelter, yeah, it's properly ventilated, has a solid floor that's raised off the ground, or a solid floor that's properly insulated, has a weatherproof roof, has 4 walls, one of which contains a doorway, has insulation to allow a dog to maintain its normal body temperature, and is suitable for the species, age, condition, size, and type of dog.
So, going back to the Senator from District 34's example, it's a hot day. I've got a nice big farmhouse with a big wraparound porch. So if my dog stays out on the farm and he's laying up on the porch underneath the porch swing, will that comply?
Again, as I read earlier, the bill provides that on hot days above 90 degrees, the dog must have suitable shelter or suitable shade. So shade means
so what's suitable shade?
shade. So behind a bush, under a tree, behind the house and the shade of the house, under a porch, shade. I don't think we need to define shade.
Well,
Shade
okay,
means
so
shade.
let's say the dog jumps up on the porch, animal control happens to come by, and my house faces north, so the sun as it moves, the shade moves.
The dog can move and lie in the shade when it's moved.
But
shade is shade. It's not that complicated.
I get that for you, but I don't think you've been through this for the farming community. People complain all the time on stuff. Animal control comes out, they look at stuff, and I'm just looking at in the future, somebody's going to complain, they're going to come out and say, well, it wasn't adequate shade, and they're going to argue whether that tree was shady enough or not. But you know what, I'll leave it as it is.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, sir. How about this? Can we special order this one until tomorrow? Senator's made a motion to special order the bill. Are there any objections to the special order? All right, without objection, the bill will be special ordered to the appropriate time on Monday. How about we do this? I think 7th, Monday the 7th. There are subcommittees waiting. I think we have time for, let's special order, if the chair is amenable, let's special order the rest of the calendar to the appropriate time on Monday. Chair recognizes the chair of the committee.
Thank you, Mr. President. I was just going to say the rest of the calendar is not controversial, but I defer to you.
But we got plenty of time. We'll be good. All right. Are there any objections to special order? Without objection, the calendar will be special ordered to the appropriate time on Monday. I think we can call it there. Let's call it there. We'll take up the rest on Monday. We don't have a lot of work on Monday, so this will be plenty of time to talk about shade. All right. Let's see. We've got, let's do committee announcements. Chair recognizes the chair of finance.
Finance will meet for bill hearings at 1, followed by voting.
At 1. Thank you, Madam Chair. Chair recognizes the chair of Education, Health, Environmental Affairs. Announcements.
Mr. President, before I give our committee's announcement as to when we're going to meet for hearings and voting, I want to tell a very brief story which relates to EHE regarding health. Ladies and gentlemen, in around 1996, a drug started to be marketed around this country based on oxycodone. And a very small company up in Connecticut called Purdue Pharmaceutical, a very small company, took a similar bill in Great Britain, in the United Kingdom, made some changes, and started to market it. They created a very large workforce to sell this drug. They focused in Maine and New England, they focused West Virginia, and eventually it spread to a lot of places. And they started with a drug of the strength of 10 or 20 milligrams. And over time, over the next 5 or 10, 15 years, they started making it in 40 and 80 and 160 milligrams. Ultimately, hundreds of thousands of people got addicted and died. It became known as the Opioid Crisis. And it affected people across our state as well. But it took a long time for people to figure out what was going on. And in hindsight, after a lot of research, people realized that the company that was owned by a family called the Sacklers knew exactly what was happening. That they were getting reports from pill mills in West Virginia of people getting addicted and dying, and they knew it, and there's proof of this. I mean, it's been documented in multiple places. Eventually, the Justice Department, I think from the Western Division of Virginia, initiated a lawsuit. It took many years to finally get to court. And eventually, there was numbers of court hearings, and about the same time, or prior, the Sackler family took a lot of the money, billions and billions of dollars, out of the company. So when they filed for bankruptcy, they didn't have much when the suit was finally resolved. I think it ended up being about $3 or $3.9 billion to pay for the families and the treatment centers that were needed to try to treat those people who became addicted. Well, a few years ago, in trying to get to a settlement, 8 attorney generals from 8 states, plus the District of Columbia, said, this is not a good deal. We need to go after the Sackler family who pulled that money out and put it offshore. And they've been able to track the billions of dollars that were pulled out of the company before it went bankrupt. And one of those attorney generals who joined that suit and said, we're not going to settle, was the Attorney General for the state of Maryland, our former colleague, Brian Frosch. Yesterday, after I don't know how long of negotiations, they came to a tentative settlement that the Sackler family personally, not from their company, personally, we're going to have to kick in another $6 billion with a B. Because those 8 attorney generals said, we're not going along with this. It's a raw deal for the states, it's a wrong deal for the people who got addicted, and we're not going to give in. A tentative agreement was reached yesterday. It has to still go to the judge for a final settlement. Part of the negotiation said they had to apologize because they have totally been unwilling to say they had any responsibility or any knowledge at all. So part of the deal was they also had to apologize, and some of the victims are going to be able to speak to them personally, although unfortunately it's by Zoom, about the effect it had on their families. And so, you know, it was announced yesterday, I think I saw it in the Baltimore Sun, and I've been in touch with the Attorney General over the last 2 or 3 or 4 months, not with the particulars of the case, but keeping me abreast. And so I want to say I'm proud of our state. I'm proud of our Attorney General for fighting these people and for their families, because many of these young people are not with us anymore, going against a corporate behemoth. And it's been written about. There are a number of great books on it. There's been television shows, but it's going to be in front of the news. I think it's a valuable thing that our Attorney General did, and as a state, we should be proud that they join with the other 7 states across the country. Thank you. Mr. President, on our committee, we will meet, if I stop talking, at 1:15 for Alcohol Day. So those of you who have bills before the committee will try to be efficient and keep moving things along. That'll be followed by a voting session on Senate Bill 528. Thank you,
Thank you,
Mr. President.
Senator. And of course, it's Alcohol Bill Day, right? Of course, all right. Right. Chair recognizes the right. Chair recognizes the Chair of Budget and Tax.
Thank you, Mr. President. Hard to follow all that. It is a good story and important. Today, I know we have rules, so the three subcommittees will be meeting after session, but acknowledging that there'll probably be a little lag because of the Rules Committee, maybe quarter of. And then on Monday at 1 o'clock, the Education Subcommittee will be meeting. And if I could, Mr. President, just
Chair may proceed.
very quickly. Yesterday, there was a briefing in the Joint Pensions Committee, both House and Senate, and our chair from the 30th District presided over, and we wanted to act very quickly to deal with the issue of divesting from Russian companies from our pension system. So, and I want to thank our staff, in particular, Philip Anthony, who worked last night to ensure that we got a bill very quickly. And all I really wanted to say is that we want to offer the opportunity for everybody to sign on to that, and it'll be in the lounge right after session. I also think that the senator from District 4 has a resolution regarding the intent of the Senate and our support for the people of Ukraine. So many of us, I think, have already signed on to that, but for those who haven't yet, I think he'll be around for that, so that we can all get on both of those measures. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Senator, and those will be in the lounge. All right. Chair recognizes the Chair of JPR. Oh, look, excellent. Worked hard this week. Other standing committees. Chair recognizes the Chair of the Rules Committee. Rules Committee.
The Rules Committee is going to meet directly after the session in the Red Room. Let's come quick so we can get out of here.
All right. Thank you, Senator. Chair recognizes the Chair of Finance.
I'm altering the announcement. We met this morning and did a work group, so we won't meet this
All right. Finance is free. Finance is free, unless you have an alcohol bill, of course. Chair recognizes the chair of the Executive Nominations Committee.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Executive Nominations Committee will meet at 5 o'clock Monday.
5 o'clock Monday. 5 o'clock Monday. Excellent. Chair recognizes the co-chair of the Protocol Committee.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Permission to use the senators' names?
Senator may proceed.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. We have two birthdays coming up, and they are tomorrow, but we're going to say happy birthday today. So that is Senator Ben Kramer and Senator Paul Pinsky. Please wish them a very happy birthday.
Look at that. What a beautiful day tomorrow. That is excellent. Excellent. All right. Chair recognizes Senator from District 1.
Thank you, Mr. President. You know, yesterday I stood up before all of you and said how hard it is to get people from my part of the state down here and be recognized for things. So on behalf of the people from the mountain who took 2 days out of their busy schedules to come down here and present the positive things of that part of the state, and I want to thank all of you who came out, at least for one function, maybe some of you for two functions. I want to thank you for coming. Mr. President, I want to thank you, and you got a warm reception this morning. I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to come. So this goes over the airways. I just want the people in the mountains to know that you all were supporting us. Mr. President, you supported us. We appreciate it very much.
Thank you so much, Senator. It was a wonderful, wonderful event. It was great. It was great. Chair recognizes Senator from District 4.
Thank you very much. Just a brief point of personal privilege. I was sitting here today, I was a bit distracted. I'm getting texts from my children's school that they're evacuating it. Fortunately for my children, my wife and I were trying to figure it out. They were talking about Ballinger Creek Middle School, which is near us. They just confused it, BMS. My kids are Brunswick Middle School, or one of my children is. But I bring this up, what happened at Ballinger Creek, that first off, we keep these, there's one adult and 5 children have been hospitalized. It seems there's something going around on TikTok. We had an incident earlier this year at on Tuesday of this week, that children on TikTok are doing a challenge trying to make mustard gas. And
my
so at
gosh.
Ballinger Creek, they had to evacuate it today, and there's a number of injuries. I think it's 5 children, 1 adult who are currently hospitalized. And on Tuesday, fortunately, due to social media, they caught the kid at Urbana before he did it. So I think it's just, I hope as a Senate we can keep those folks who are currently in the hospital this in our thoughts and prayers, but also as we have discussions about school security and school issues and the challenges, I think with these kids coming back from COVID and everything else, it's just, there's a lot of challenges right now in the system, and I think something we should be cognizant of, these TikTok challenges. This is the second time this school year that they've really presented a real threat. So thank you very much, Mr.
No, thank you
President.
for that observation. It's awful. That's awful, just horrific. Social media, I'll tell you. Yes, Chair recognizes the Vice Chair of Judicial Proceedings, Senator from Montgomery County.
Thank you, Mr. President. I am here to report good news from yesterday. I mentioned on this floor, as did the Senate President, that there was an explosion, a large explosion in my legislative district. An entire garden apartment building was leveled. But miracles do happen. Today, I was informed by the fire chief that all residents are accounted for, and there have been no deaths.
Wow.
So
That's
we're very
great.
fortunate.
That is amazing.
Indeed. There are 3 people still in critical condition, so I ask that you continue to pray for them and their families, and we'll have an update at some point in the future. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you, Senator. On a different note, last night we had the Senate's past gathering, and it was just a really, really wonderful gathering. I think it was probably roughly about 40 senators or so, 45 former senators were here, and we honored the memorial of those who have passed over the last 2 years. I think there were a total of 9 senators who passed, and the former senators gave remarks, and it was just a really, really special evening. And this is just a special place, and I think they told stories of the Senate of old, and how things change, but they stay the same, and it just was a really neat engagement, and look forward to continuing that tradition moving forward. It was just really, really nice. So, and everyone sends their best, of course, to the current crew. All right. Any further announcements? If not, let's do a quorum call before we adjourn.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their presence? If so, the clerk will take the call. With 44 members in the chamber and a quorum being present, the Senate of Maryland remains in session. Chair recognizes the Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate of Maryland stand adjourned until Monday, March 7th at 8 p.m.
8 p.m. Monday. Have a wonderful day. Stay safe. Enjoy the weekend.